was I was talking about the violent traffic and how kind of scary it is to drive here and dangerous.
Yeah.
And I immediately was met with, well, what about in Detroit where all the buildings are collapsing and there's tons of crime and it's lawless? And it's like, you're literally missing the entire point of what I'm talking about.
You fill up my lungs, and if my mind works backwards just for a minute,
I don't know. I just turned on the camera and you didn't.
Hey guys, welcome back. We actually don't know what our next topic is, so I'm gonna look it up. Stop rocking the camera like it's a baby.
I'm just waiting for you, dude. I'm getting impatient. Should know what we're talking about.
I do.
How many of you have turned off yet? First of all, let's set the scene. Where are we?
We're in Sham, which is actually a very cool area to go to in Hong Kong for the following two reasons. Number one, it's got the golden computer arcade. So if you're into gaming and you want any kind of gaming, so you know, you want to go buy a Nintendo Switch or you just want to go get some original PlayStation games or whatever, this is where you come.
Yep.
Buy your consoles, your games, gaming accessories. But little known fact is on the other side of Sham Shui Po is where all the second-hand streets are. You can walk around and people are selling like old bric-a-brac. I mean, I picked up old Sony Walkmans and mini disc players and you know, all sorts of old things like that there. It's kind of cool. So
if you're interested in Sham Shui Po, you can watch the entire video that I did about it.
Oh, you did?
It's 13 minutes just about Sham Shui Po.
Did you go to the Golden Computer Arcade or the second-hand street though?
I walked through the second-hand street in the video.
Okay, cool.
For sure.
Anyway, that's not what this is about.
Yeah, but we're allowed to plug ourselves, okay?
Of course. Go check out his video. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Shitty ass buildings here. Anyway, we are talking about whataboutism. What about it? What about whataboutism? Well, whataboutism is probably one of the most common diversion techniques that are used in Chinese society. And basically, when someone doesn't want to, we've talked about face, when someone doesn't want to take the blame for something, you end up with a situation where they will say, what about this though? Right?
Yeah.
This is the tofu flower place that I ate at.
I hate
anyway,
tofu flower.
I know,
Anyway,
it wasn't very good.
We're going to walk underneath the road there. There's like an underpass subway thing.
But anyway, when someone has the blame pointed at them or their fingers are being pointed at them, they'll say, well, I don't care, what about this, right? That's what we're basically talking about. I think everyone knows that phrase.
Well,
it's quite common.
I will give you like a better situation, because let's not even take China. Let's start with South Africa, okay?
Okay.
I remember one day, because you know, South Africa has a high crime rate, right?
Sure.
Incredibly high. In fact, I think it's like the third in the world right now.
Fourth?
Okay, sorry. Well, you know, we were probably number one.
You were absolutely number one. You guys are
the thing is, like, even Syria is safer.
It is.
We're going down here.
Very funny.
Here. Okay. So anyway, I remember reading an article that came out in the South African press, like on the newspaper or wherever it was, and they're like, look, this country's like worse than us. Like, must really suck to be them type thing.
Right.
And I was thinking to myself when I read this article, I mean, it didn't literally say that,
Okay.
but you know, that was the gist of it.
I guess.
I remember reading this saying, like, what kind of nonsense is this? We've got such a huge crime problem, but people are like taking solace in the fact that another country has a worse crime problem.
Sure.
So instead of saying like, listen, there's some really bad stuff happening here, they're like, don't worry about that. They're way worse off over there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's whataboutism.
And that's what happens here all the time. And if you look at the comments on our videos, you'll see that all the time. If we point something out, like let's just say, I did one about the garbage, right? The recycle, non-recycle thing. And I was like, this is just ridiculous. And I walked around and I showed, look, both bins have the same stuff in it, etc., etc. You know how many comments I got where people were like, yeah, maybe we don't separate our garbage, but in Vegas, you know, people are being shot with guns.
Exactly.
You know, like, you got gun crime everywhere. So I'd rather have like bins that are not separated than people being murdered all the time.
Right. One on mine was I was talking about the violent traffic and how kind of scary it is to drive here and dangerous.
Yeah.
And I immediately was met with, well, what about in Detroit where all the buildings are collapsing and there's tons of crime and it's lawless? And it's like, you're literally missing the entire point of what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And it's always this deflection that we see here in China. It's a very, very crazy.
It's diversion, and that's what really upsets me, is that there's a problem that's easy to fix, right? Let's go down there first. So let's take, for instance, that whole thing about separating your garbage.
Right.
There's the problem.
Right.
No problem. There's the problem. It's very easy to fix. Just need to educate people.
Sure.
Don't go and start defending it.
No, I'm not walking around.
No, don't worry about that because there's gun violence in America.
I'm not walking around telling people like, oh, by the way, I don't think America actually has a problem with gun violence. Like, it's totally fine. What about your shitty country? I don't do that.
No.
Come on, you face the issue.
Yeah.
And you talk about it.
Correct.
And why would we commentate on something, by the way? I'm replying to the haters right now, but why would we commentate on something that we're not dealing with? Yeah. I don't live in America.
Yes.
So I wasn't faced with that issue. It's not an issue on the plate. Yeah. What we talk about is stuff that's happening where we live.
That's correct. So that's why people don't seem to understand. They're like, well, your country, they love to do that about South Africa. They're like, you come from a bullshit country and all this crime and stuff. It's like, does that really matter? Because I'm not there.
Well,
I'm living in China.
First you say, yes, I do.
Yes, there we are.
And that's what usually shuts them up, is because they don't expect you. They expect an argument. They don't expect you to be like, yes, there are issues, but let's talk about China.
I will tell you day in and day out how bad South Africa's crime rate is.
Right.
And all the problems that it faces.
Right.
Because I want those problems to change.
Sure.
I want to acknowledge them.
Sure.
And that's the problem, is people do not want to acknowledge those problems. They want them to, just not be there, pretend they're not there.
Right.
Anyway, let's do a UE.
We got to show them some secondhand stuff that you can keep going on about.
Oh yeah. We're gonna. There's a couple of good shops.
Okay.
So let's just keep going. This is just like kind of cheap tat bric-a-brac.
But in your country, I bet you have cheap tat too.
Yeah, it comes from here.
This place is
You can buy like universal remote controls.
Right.
You can buy cheap batteries.
This is definitely the lower end of Hong Kong, that's for sure. You can buy some shitty Mao Zedong statues, oddly enough. This is a fairly interesting area, though. A lot going on. A lot of immigrants here as well. It's very cheap housing, so that's kind of what leads them here. But you can see the buildings is kind of like in the movies when you think of like Hong Kong. It hasn't changed a whole lot. Darts Point.
What's that?
What's that? You need a chainsaw? Well, I got a pile of them.
That's what's cool about this place, is if you do need a second-hand power tool, you can just come buy it.
Yeah, it's cool because in mainland China, there are no, for example.
You can't buy second-hand tools.
Look at all these second-hand tools. It's crazy, right? And it's very useful for people like us. We like to work on bikes. The problem is that in mainland China, there's pretty much no second-hand shops around. I don't think I've ever seen one. Have you?
People don't like second-hand goods, remember?
Right. But we do. Especially with things like power tools. It's very good. Very convenient.
Remember, it ties in with the whole not taking
cameras.
Yeah, taking people's old.
Whoa, these are ancient.
It's nice though. If you're a collector and you like old cameras, you can come and get.
For sure. There's kind of like a dead period of early digital in there as well, though, which is completely useless.
Yeah, most of these are film cameras.
Right. I'm gonna pick up that pink Canon and grab that flute. What the hell? Yeah. There's a market for everything here. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, I like it because, I've found old Sony Walkmans and mini disc players and things here. So I like to dig through sometimes.
In today's shoot, we've managed to go to like the two worst places in Hong Kong. Not boring though.
Hey, look, samurai swords.
What the? That's pretty cool. Next to golf clubs. Is it real?
No. But I do want to kind of take a look.
It's not sharp, right?
No. It's just a display sword.
Just a display sword.
Hey, try to get that on camera.
Disappointed. You look like a weeaboo. I like the golf clubs. That's pretty cool. Good way to save money. I'm personally trying to get rid of stuff right now. Are those freaking cassette tapes? What is that? Oh, is that the one that
takes a
disc?
Takes a disc, yeah.
That's crazy. I saw a video about that. That's funny. It's got a screen on it too. Hey, how you doing?
You mind that I make a selfie with you?
Sure.
Yeah, please do.
Subscribers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome,
It's
dude.
really nice to bump into.
We're filming
Yeah, by Sham. Just pulled out the MTR
Oh, great.
to control, let's repair my PS2 controller.
Nice.
Oh, okay, very
PS4
cool.
controller.
Nice.
Yeah, let's do this.
Great.
Awesome.
Awesome, man.
Cool.
Really nice to meet you.
Anything you want to say?
We're just here for the day, and then we're going back later tonight.
Right.
Shenzhen, I guess.
Yeah, back to Shenzhen.
Right. Okay.
What's your name?
Oliver.
Oliver. Nice to meet you.
Really nice to meet you all.
Wait a minute. He's showing you that you can put your fork back in the line, which makes me a little bit worried. Makes me a little worried. Because I feel like mainlanders can buy that and then make their fake boots. Look at those relics. Ancient relics. Oh, is it a dick? It's like that's an actual just penis, like an erect penis.
Why is it like a porcelain set of
And there's like,
dolls?
yeah, they're banging. Chinese like banging dolls, dude. If you know, porn on DVD or magazine is a little too high tech for you, you can go for the ancient porn. Oh, look at those ancient ass
Hey,
controllers.
look, the Famicom disk system.
Oh, cool.
That's actually really cool. I wonder how much that is.
You don't want to carry that home, dude.
No, I don't, but I mean, it's real.
That's cool. I really wouldn't recommend this. VCDs. Dude, VCDs.
Sega Saturn. There's a PS1.
Is that
Yeah.
porn? Can you hold this up? Hey guys, check it out. Check it out. Ooh la la.
Well dodgy. All sorts of dodgy stuff here.
Look at these old mini discs.
Oh, they've got mini discs, and they got. Damn it.
That's dirty, dude. You don't want that one. Probably doesn't even work.
That's the chance you take. Old Xbox controllers. I like mini discs because I've actually got a mini disc player.
Said no one ever.
It's literally bric-a-brac. It's the kind of thing that, you know, if you're a hoarder or a collector, it's good to come here. Yeah, well, I mean, I like to collect old consoles and stuff.
I like looking at this stuff. It's interesting. Yeah, very vibey. You guys should come to SerpentZA at some point.
Anyway, let's get back to the whataboutism thing,
Sure.
because that's what this is all about, not a tour of Sham.
Well, come on. When in Rome.
Basically, it's preventing China from progressing.
Right.
And quite simply, I'd say it's probably the biggest problem, because instead of acknowledging basic issues, basic social issues, they'd rather fight in a defensive way
Sure.
to protect these social issues,
Right.
these bad social issues, because they don't want to admit to it. It's basically
Right.
like saying, you know, if you're being a tool, right? If you're being like
Right.
I don't know, you're rude to your friends and stuff.
Right.
It's difficult for you to admit, to say, look, actually, yeah, I'm being
I messed
rude.
up.
I'm a rude guy. I'm sorry. I'm going to change my ways.
Right.
You'd rather say like, oh yeah, well, you're lazy, you know.
Right. At least I'm not like this.
Yeah, exactly. So it prevents you from changing that rude behavior,
Right.
and that's what's happening here. Is you've got all these issues, and they're very easy to solve, and especially China's one of the countries that has the power and the ability to solve almost anything
Very
because
quickly.
of the way it's set up.
Right.
And you know, the people are intelligent. The government is a one-party state, so they can just basically say stop.
Right.
You know,
And it
then
happens.
last. Yeah. But instead of doing it, they'd rather just deflect and divert attention to some
Sure.
other country. And you'll
Sure.
see that in our comments all the time. In fact, if you look down here, you'll probably see in our comments of this video, you'll
Right.
see something like that.
Right.
Hey, what's going on here?
We got copies. While you film police officers just walking down the road,
But you can do
I will get hit by a car.
No, you
And
won't.
yes, I mean there's certain there are absolutely look at Mr. Police Chief. There are absolutely certain issues that cause the deflection to start, and one of them is absolutely positively. By the way, it's so cool that we can just randomly film in front of authorities and they don't even care.
Yeah, we don't need
I love that. One of the main issues, like for example, if someone criticizes China for something, they'll say, well, it's because of the opium wars, so that you know all these countries came in and forced all this shit on us, so we weren't able to develop and blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. It's that kind of stuff. They'll reach way back in history and
It's
continue.
got to be a reason, or it's got to be someone else's fault.
Sure.
And to be fair,
yeah.
it is kind of human nature, but the problem is here, it's just ridiculously blown out of proportion.
It's the way to explain away problems.
Yeah.
And to not fix things because they don't want to admit that something is wrong.
Yeah. So if you're a 50 center or something out there, the next time you see something that you don't like in one of our videos, rather than trying to be defensive, how about just acknowledging the problem? Because we're not making stuff up here.
Right.
That's not our goal. It's not to make things up.
No.
You know, our goal, quite literally, go this way.
Okay.
Our goal, quite literally, is just to tell people what it's like to live in China, to understand China. So we'll say, hey, look, this is not good. This is good, and take it or leave it. Don't try to make an excuse. That's the thing. Keep improving because China is improving. China is getting better. So just keep improving. And make these silly problems go away, and just stop defending them is what I'm saying.
Right,
because
agreed.
That's stupid.
Agreed.
Anything you want to add?
Whether you like to say what about this and what about that, what about love?
Baby, don't hurt.
Wow, we've literally just went into 3 different songs there. Anyway, I need to sneak through these little kids and anyway, what the hell is going on? There's like a naked Arhu playing Nan and okay, anyway, whether you like to explain away your problems or actually face them and admit your faults and look at yourself very deep and hard and say, I could improve this. I don't care. I just want you to hit the like button.
Oh, cool. This looks kind of nice, Japanese.
Oh, is that little hidden Japanese?
We might go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so whether or not let me put this another way. I know where I come from. I know my country. I know the faults that my country has very clearly. You don't need to point it out to me because I point them out to the world, just as I point every problem in my life out to the world. Whether you're a diverter, a whataboutism apologist, or any kind of weird sort of a person in between, doesn't matter. We love you all the same. Keep watching and keep staying awesome.